Hi, this is Monica Carter Tagore, author and business strategist. In this video, we will learn how to communicate your value, how to compete on something other than price. And why is this important? Because you have got to be able to compete on something aside from undercutting your rate, something aside from charging simply the lowest around, something aside from simply being the low-cost option. You've got to compete on something special. That's the only way to raise yourself out of the struggle. That's the only way to separate yourself from the competition. That's the only way to get out of the position you're in right now. You see, I started my business more than 13 years ago, and the only thing I knew to compete on was price. I didn't know about anything else, and so that's what I did. And boy, did that become a headache. In fact, it almost drove me into the ground. You see, what happened with me is that I started business just being good at doing something. I felt I had a calling, a gift, a purpose, and that's what I went into business focusing on. I didn't have the business strategies or the business practices in place to support my purpose or my calling or my passion. But I went into business anyway, like a lot of people do. Unfortunately, though, sometimes what happens when we are purpose-driven, passionate, creative, when we feel called to do something, we run into business thinking it's good just to be good enough at whatever the thing is we do, just to be a good writer or a good photographer or a good designer or whatever it is. But pretty soon, we realize that being good at something is simply not good enough. And what do we do then? We struggle. We struggle because we wonder, how is it that we've been gifted with this great talent or skill, or we have the message or expertise, yet we can't figure out how to get it to the market. We can't figure out how to get it to those people who really need what we have. And so we undercut our rates. We charge the least amount that we possibly can, sometimes going into the negative on a project or on a transaction. That's what we're here to fix in this video, because you're right, your gift deserves so much more. It deserves to be shared with more people. It deserves to be honored. It deserves to be valued. If you feel called to do a certain thing, if you feel that this is your purpose, this is your passion, you feel compelled to do this work, then you should be compensated well for it. But that won't happen automatically. You've got to work on it. And that's about learning to work on your business and not just in your business. You see, most people like us, we simply work in our business. We think it's enough just to service client projects. We think it's enough just to do an amazing job on a project, but it's not. We've got to spend time working on our businesses as well. Working on your business is about working on developing that business so that it can grow and so it can flourish and so it can be stable well into the future. That's working on your business. And in this video, I'm going to help you work on your business by working on something that is going to really take you to the next level. But first, before we get to that, let me talk to you about charging the lowest rate. What's happened is that you are focusing on transactional value. You focus just on, okay, I charge this dollar amount for this thing. Will you pay me or will you not? And so when someone balks at your rate, or they seem not to be able to afford it, or they seem as if they want to possibly pass your offer by, what do? You charge less the next time around, or possibly even in that instance where you offer a hastily put together discount, or you agree to do the work for little to nothing. And so what you're doing is, one, you're devaluing what you do, but beyond that, you are focusing, as I said, on the transactional value, just on the dollar value, but your work is about so much more than that. What you've got to focus on is transformation. You want to focus on the transformational value, and that's what helps separate you from your competition. That's what helps to elevate you, to take you to the next level. Because what you're going to do when you're focusing on transformation, you're focusing on results. You're focusing on the result that you can produce or that you can help your client produce so that that person can get to whatever he or she is trying to get to. So focus on the result. Focus on, again, the transformation. What will availing of your offer do for this person? What will taking advantage of your services or your products or your programs help this person accomplish or achieve? How will their life be better as a result of working with you? When you focus on transformation, when you focus on results, then you get away from simply competing based on price. You get away from simply charging the lowest rate. You become someone that your customers and clients desire to work with because of the results that you can produce. And so, how do you communicate that? Well, you communicate it through your brand. You see, that's the thing to separate you from the struggle you're in right now, from this place of sacrifice, from this place of frustration. You've got to work on your brand. Your brand is the key to helping you convey that message of what you really are all about. Your brand is there to help you separate yourself from the competition, separate yourself from simply those who don't know any better, separate yourself even from the struggle you're in right now. So that's why it's important to focus on the brand. And in this video, I'm going to help you with your brand so that you can begin to make progress. You can begin to move to a different level in your business. You can begin to, yes, finally free your greatness. Freeing your greatness is about allowing you to perform at your best and highest level, allowing you to express your best and highest self. And often we do that through our work. When we are able to do work that is meaningful, that is significant, and that is consistent over time, we're freeing our greatness. We are tapping into that special thing inside of us and sharing it with the world. Greatness is about service. And so the more service you're able to provide, the greater you can be, the greater expression of yourself. And so when you're just focused on price, when you're competing in that place where it seems like it's dog eat dog or it's the whole bottom of the barrel situation, then you're not thinking anything about greatness. But when you begin to compete in a different way, when you begin to compete based on transformation, based on the real value you can bring, based on what's special about you, then you can start to think about your greatness. You can start to think about the legacy you want to leave, the impact you want to make. After all, you started this business not just because of money, but because of the impact, because of the influence, and certainly, of course, because of the income, but definitely because you wanted to make a difference. So you're a different entrepreneur. It's not just about the dollar. Though the dollar is important, because without the dollar, you can't continue this work. And so when you focus on your brand and the things that I will share with you in this video and the next, you will earn more money, because the money that allows you to do the things that you do, the money is what helps you do what you do. It allows you to serve more people. But I know the reason you got into the business had little to do with the money. And it's about the service, and that's wonderful, and that's great, and that's why we want to perform at a higher level. We want to offer more service so we can stop thinking about charging the lowest rate. We can stop thinking about struggle. We can stop letting negative ideas about money permeate through our business. So again, what we're going to talk about here is raising your game, taking your business to a higher level. And that is about communicating who you really are, communicating your message, communicating your brand. And when you are successful in communicating your brand, then you can have those benefits of business. You can have greater income, you can have greater impact, you can have greater influence. That's why it's important to focus on your brand. That's why it's important to work on your business and not just in it. If you work just in your business, you will never gain the level of success you crave, because you'll be so busy chasing client projects, working on client projects. This is about working on something for the betterment of your business. This is about setting you up for now and well into the future. So let's talk about that brand. Okay, we know that your brand is going to be the thing to help separate you from the competition. So how do you do that for your business? The first thing is, let's define your brand. Your brand is simply what people think of when they think of your business. Your brand is how you're perceived. And whether you know it or not, you already have a brand. It just may not be what you want right now. Your brand may be about the low-cost provider. It may be about the cheapest on the block. It may be about, okay, no great shakes, nothing special. That may be your brand now. But if it is, it's okay, because coming out of this video, you're going to be able to make that brand something better. So the first thing I want you to do when looking at your business and working on your business, working on your brand, is to assess your brand. What is your brand? Because you've got to know where you are so that you can decide if you're in the right place or if you need to shift, if you need to pivot, if you need to move. So what is your brand? What do people think of when they think of your business? When they think of your work? When they think of what you provide, what you offer? If you don't know what your brand is, then you've got some work to do. If you don't know what your brand is, then I want you to find out. Ask your clients, what is your brand? Ask them, why did they come to you? What do they think of when they think of you and your company, when they think of you and your business? Ask other people around, maybe people who are in your industry, even your family and friends who know of your business, even if they haven't really purchased anything that you've offered. Ask them about your brand as well. You might do a client survey. You might do a questionnaire. And in that survey, a questionnaire, you're trying to determine what comes up about your brand. What do people know of when they think of you? Or what do they think of when they think of you and your company? So the first thing is to assess your brand. And then once you have assessed your brand, it's going to be time to get honest. Is this the right brand for you? Does this brand work? Will this brand help you to have the income you desire, the impact you desire, the influence? If that brand is not helping, it's harming. The good news, though, is that you can tweak your brand. You can pivot it. And see, so the second thing you want to do once you have assessed your brand is to define it or redefine it. If you find that your brand is okay, is what you want, but it's just not strong enough, then it's about defining that so more people can realize that brand. But if you find that your brand is not what you want, you're really not sending out the right message, then I want you to redefine your brand. And you're going to redefine your brand based on the values you do want to put forth in your brand. But here's a note of caution. With your brand, you don't get to simply call it whatever it is. You have to decide what is authentic. So your brand is about being authentic. It can only work if it's something real about you and your business. So you can't simply say, oh, I want my brand to be XYZ, if that's not authentic for your business. So pick out a value that is authentic to your business and swivel your brand around that. What you're going to do is really think about, okay, what is authentic about my business? And what's special about my business? Why do people come to me? And what special thing can I provide that nobody else can? What can I do better than anybody else? Swivel your brand around that. Make sure it's authentic and then focus on that. So let's go back over our first 2 points. So our first 2 points are, we are going to assess our brand. And once we've assessed our brand, we are going to define our brand or redefine our brand, depending on what we figured out in that assessment. And then after that, once we've defined our brand, we're going to reflect our brand. When you reflect your brand, that means all of the information about your business must be congruent with that brand. It must share that brand. Your website needs to reflect that brand. Your business cards need to reflect that brand. Your blog needs to reflect that brand. Your social media profiles need to reflect that brand. Yes, I know social media. I know a lot of times we think that social media is something that we do personally. It's okay. It has no effect on our business, but really it does. Even if you're on Facebook and you're talking to your friends about what's going on in your life, your Facebook profile still needs to reflect your brand. Your posts need to reflect your brand. So consider all of that. Everything you put out, everything you present in the public sphere needs to support your brand, needs to reflect your brand. And so once you've assessed your brand and you've defined or redefined your brand and it's time to reflect your brand, really give your brand an honest look. Is it inconsistent across the internet? Is the information there not really representative of your brand? If so, then yes, you're going to work on that. You're going to make sure that you up the quality and the level of your website. You're going to make sure that you are posting information on social media that is consistent with your brand, that is enhancing your brand. You're going to make sure that your business cards for your offline activities and events, they are reflecting your brand, and other things like that. Everything you do has to reflect that brand. Otherwise, if you get inconsistency, if things aren't quite congruent, then your brand is not going to go very well because it's going to feel inauthentic to your user. If, for instance, let's say, because I know a lot of us are passionate and purpose driven and we feel called to do this work, and so some of us have a spiritual element to our work, and that spirituality may be reflected in our brand message. But if we get on social media and we start maybe using profanity all the time, or we start talking about risque topics and our participation in those things, then that shows a little disconnect. So if you are in ministry and if your brand is about spirituality or faith, yet you're posting other things on social media that are risque or compromise that brand, then there's a disconnect there. So look at that. Look at whatever you're doing on social media. Look at what you're posting on your blog. Look at even the types of photos you're posting on sites such as Instagram or Pinterest, so on and so forth. Now, this is not to say that if your brand is related to your ministry or is spiritual, that you can't post anything outside of that. Of course you can. You want to give people a good idea and a feel for, so that they can feel that they're getting to know you. But again, you want to make sure that whatever you post is reflective of your brand and is authentic, and so it supports the brand. So you want to show your best self. You want to be authentic. You want to show yourself, because in many instances our personal brands lend themselves to our business brands. Our personal brands are the first introduction people have to us. Our personal brands are about who we are as people. And then what we can do is share our personal brands with our business brands. And if we are consultants, or we're in ministry, or we're authors, or something to where people must buy into us, then the personal brand must definitely be aligned with that business brand. So again, whatever you do, make sure you're reflecting the brand that you want to reflect. You're reflecting the brand that you are having people to buy into. And as I said, your brand must be authentic to you. This is not about being fake. This is not about pretending to be something you're not. This is about reflecting the best and highest version of you, the best and highest expression of you. Whatever that special thing is about you, that's what your brand needs to reflect. And when you do that, you will find that your business is going to be at a higher level, because you're going to be able to call to those people who really resonate with what you're saying. You're going to put out a brand message that can be attractive to people who identify with what you're talking about. And so when you do that, you help yourself become the ideal solution for your customers and clients. Because what you do is you identify your brand and you share your brand. And of course, sharing the brand is the last piece that I want to talk about here, because once you've assessed your brand, defined your brand, reflected your brand, it's time to get it out to the world. It's time to share it. And sharing your brand is where you get a chance to call those people who can identify with what your brand is. That's where you get people to stand up and raise their hands and say, yes, yes, I love your brand. I identify with it. Sharing your brand is about the marketing. And in our next video, we will definitely discuss marketing your brand so that you can share that brand message with the wider audience, with the right audience, so you're getting the right customers and clients. And that's the beauty of the approach that we talk about here. First, figuring out your brand, getting your brand together, and second, being able to share that brand with the right audience through the effective marketing. Because what you want to do is, once you have that brand on point, you want to make sure you're sharing it in as many places as you possibly can in an effective way. That doesn't mean you have to be in every place, but you need to be in the right places. And with the approach that I will share with you in the next video, we will get to the right places. We will figure out a way to help you market your business, market your brand, so that you begin to rise above the competition. You begin to stand out because your message, your gift, your calling, your expertise, this thing you do, it deserves to stand out. It deserves to stand above and apart from other competition. So if you take the time to work on your brand, you can leave the struggle behind. You can leave the sacrifice behind. You can leave behind this place where you're just competing on rate, because you will compete on something much value. You will compete based on transformation. You will compete based on results. You will compete based on a brand that is special and that is unique to you. And remember, your brand does have to be unique, because a brand, only one brand can occupy space in your customer or client's minds. You can't be a knockoff of somebody else's brand. You can't be a copycat of somebody else's brand, because what happens is that if you copy someone else's brand and that brand is already occupied in your customer or client's minds, then they will just see you as a knockoff. They will see you as the copycat you are, and you will lose credibility. You can't do that. And you don't have to, because within you is the right brand. So look at yourself. Look at your gifts. Look at what you know is special about you. Look at your qualities and build a brand around that. And that's how you build a one-of-a-kind brand. A one-of-a-kind brand is the brand that's going to take you from where you are to where you want to be. You've got to build a one-of-a-kind brand. You can't be a copycat of somebody else, and you can't just focus on simply competing based on price. It's time for you to build a one-of-a-kind business brand so that you can take your message, you can take your calling, you can take your purpose, you can take your passion to the audience that needs it. You know there are lives for you to touch. You know there are people who need to hear what you have to say. You know there are people for you to serve. And when you work on your brand, you can get to those people. So just to recap, before I let you go and we get to the next video, you are going to do 4 things. You're going to assess your brand, define your brand, reflect your brand, and share your brand. Your brand is the key to taking you from where you are to where you want to be. Not just any brand, not a copycat brand, but your one-of-a-kind business brand. Your brand that's built around something unique and special about you, that allows you to take your calling, take your purpose, take your passion to those who need it. That's what's going to separate you from this place of struggle. That's what's going to take you to the next level. That's what's going to help you elevate and walk more boldly and more freely in your greatness. Well, that's it for now. I am coming right back with another video, so stay tuned so we can get to sharing your brand, so that you can, once you get that one-of-a-kind business brand in place, you'll be ready to share it with the world and take it to the audience that needs it. This is Monica Carter Tagore, helping you free your greatness and take your business to the next level.